I am the film teacher here at Notre Dame High School.
What was your experience like at ND when you were a student?
When I was a student, it was great. It was fantastic. I had a great senior year. Most popular kid in school. You know how it goes.
Have you noticed any changes in Notre Dame since COVID? If so, what are they?
I think maybe not this year, but the past couple of years, morale was a little down just because it was COVID. People had to wear masks. It was a little weird. I think we've gotten it back up though to where it was when I was here, so that's nice.
Okay, do you prefer the Notre Dame before or after COVID?
That's tough. I think high school. Being in high school holds a special place in my heart. Teaching here is great, but nothing beats like being a high school senior, not having bills to pay. Yeah.
Okay, last question. What do you think the main difference is in Notre Dame before and after COVID?
The students make much worse documentaries.
Cut the cameras. Okay, go ahead. Okay, who am I here with?
Dr. Ng.
What is your job at Notre Dame?
I am the Service Learning Coordinator and also the Coordinator for Diversity and Inclusion.
What was your experience like at Notre Dame?
Well, this is my second time here in Notre Dame. I was here in the late 80s and early 90s. And then so when I retired from public education, I came back. So I love Notre Dame.
Have you noticed any changes in Notre Dame since COVID? If so, what are they?
What the most interesting thing about COVID is I like to see both sides of any situation. There was a lot of stress. It was very challenging, but we also learned how well we can adapt to change if we needed to. And that's a great affect. Sometimes you don't know if you can do something until you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it was different in that when we were here during COVID, it was so quiet. You missed the clanking of lockers and the noise in the hallway. But we also learned how to use a camera and a mic, how to master Zoom. We all, as faculty, were helping each other do things with media we never knew how to do before.
Mm-hmm.
So COVID made the environment different, but the mission stayed the same. When I left my public school, COVID had just started. So that I was online and then literally retired and started here. So I know the day that it happened when we got a memo saying you have to come up with a week's worth of lessons because we're not going to come back. So when we came into here, the atmosphere was, okay, we have a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do? And one thing about Catholic education, we here can make decisions. And the faculty and administrators made it possible to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. And I have to say, I'm not camera shy, as you know.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot about Zoom.
Yeah, definitely.
I learned a lot about how to do videos, how to post things. I never would have learned that if that did not happen.
Do you prefer the Notre Dame before or after COVID?
After COVID, of course. I mean, I missed having the energy and the craziness, and that definitely after.
And what do you think the main difference is in Notre Dame before and after? I think you said it.
I think it's the environment. It was challenging, but you miss the joy of being at Notre Dame. You miss the crazy and the wonderfulness and all the things happening, and that's a part of our school. And I think many people really began to appreciate all of the things that we do here.
Have you noticed any changes in Notre Dame since COVID? And if so, what are they?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the great things about Notre Dame is there's so much tradition here, right, for the last 60 plus years. And I found that the new students that were coming in because of COVID, they didn't get to experience really the loudness, the vibrancy, especially in the beginning of our hooligans, of our pep rallies, of just some of those traditions that the upperclassmen would kind of teach the younger grades. So it's going to take a few years to get that back, but I do see that we're finally getting better at that.
Do you prefer the Notre Dame before or after COVID?
Well, I think we're finally getting back to the Notre Dame before COVID. There are some things that have certainly changed, but Notre Dame is Notre Dame, and we just had a little bit of hiccup in the middle there.
Has there been a change specifically on the admission side of Notre Dame because of COVID?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had to send out acceptances. I remember when we sent out our acceptances, it was right a week after COVID hit, and we were quarantined. Miss Lloyd and I did the acceptances from our dining room tables, which was not fun, right? We don't go into admissions because we don't like people. We want to meet people and like shake their hands and smile and be happy with them. So that thankfully is coming back, but some benefits out of COVID are still with us. So for example, we had to restructure some of our open house, the ways we actually do the open house. Like we are allowing people not to need a tour guide anymore. They can do private, like self-guided tours, which we had to do during COVID because we had to space them out. And now it's an option. You can get a tour guide or you can go on your own. We also had to shift the way we did our Irish for a day, because we couldn't fit more kids in a classroom, right? So before COVID, you would shadow one student for the whole day. We couldn't add another 5 to 7 students in a classroom, so we've created these little mini rotations for prospective students, and they love it because they get to meet like future classmates and like kind of make friends even before the summer hits. So that's been another benefit. And actually, Zoom meetings, believe it or not, when they're accepted, I'll do a Saturday morning with Mrs. Cerubi coffee, and I'm sitting at my kitchen table, and parents will get on Zoom because everybody's busy. So we still have held on to some of those things, but thank God everybody's back in person because, yeah, I like to be with people, not, behind a screen.
Yeah. Okay.
My name is Julie Campo. I am a math teacher, and I have been teaching math for over 40 years and calculus specifically over 30 years. My experience overall is just great. I get to do what I love, and I especially enjoy interacting with my students. There were changes initially that I noticed, but we seem to be returning to the way things mostly used to be. The big thing that I have noticed in terms of changes are the work ethic of students, not necessarily my students, but from what I hear from other people, depending upon the level of courses that they're taking. The honors and the advanced placement students, there's not been much difference in the work ethic, but the regular level students, yes, too much Zooming and looking up answers and things like that. And initially when we came back from COVID, the biggest thing that I noticed, and so did all my colleagues, is that students didn't interact with each other like hardly at all. They just were very subdued and looking at their phones, whereas it used to be that kids would come into class and there'd be all this chatter, and then at the end of class there'd be all this chatter, and that definitely was not the case when we returned after COVID, but now it seems like the way it used to be in terms of students interacting with each other. So I'm happy about that. I think the main difference is that unfortunately it's a negative towards the students, is that teachers are more cognizant of the fact that students might be turning in work that is not their own or not entirely